What's the most ked up thing you've done for money? NSFW. One time I sold grocery store portobello mushrooms to some freshmen for 120 bucks. I webcammed a 50-plus-year-old guy and told him a bedtime story, tucked him in, and sang lullabies to him for 200 bucks. Doesn't sound ked up, but believe me, it was. I tutored a guy in a subject I had zero idea about. He ended up getting a 0 over 200 on his test the next day. Edit. I had tutored the guy in another subject before with pretty good results, but one day he asked me to teach him chemistry, a class that I had never taken. I literally learned the material as I read it in his textbook with him. After he got his test score back, his parents never said another word to me, and they hired a professional tutor. Not money, but bartering. I crumpled up aluminum foil and covered it with gold Sharpie ink. Then I told a kid it was gold and traded it for a Charizard card. I immediately felt guilty. I let a medical researcher inject me with salt water so he could record how much pain I was in. Twice. Spending 9 hours a day, 5, sometimes more, days a week, 50 weeks a year, 45 years of life going to work seems quite ked up once you really think about it. I didn't eat lunch at school for over a year, so I could save up for a trampoline. I shat on myself while a guy and his friend watched for $100. I really needed the money at the time. I was drunk at a karaoke bar in Sydney a few years ago, running around the hallways for some reason. Two 30-something women told me they needed a stripper for their friend's birthday and they'd give me $200. So I walk into this brightly lit karaoke room with 15 to 20 women sitting around staring at me in a semicircle. I got naked, sang Radio Gaga to a wall of camera flashes, made a speech, and got the out of there. I used to DJ at a strip club. One night a few guys came in to cheer one of them up, as he had just buried his brother earlier that day. One of them, already pretty drunk, comes up to me and says, "Hey, we are about to buy this guy a lap dance. Can you play taps? When he gets it, we'll pay you $100. As they'd already said once or twice they were there to cheer him up, I said no, of course not. He goes back, has a brief conversation with the rest of his buddies, comes back and says, "Alright, $250. Again, I turned them down. Long story short, they kept coming back with higher and higher offers. I finally caved at $1,000 and played taps, while a guy who had buried his brother earlier got a lap dance from a stripper. The worst part was the look on the guy's face the entire time. Don't think I'll ever forget it. That was about 10 years ago, and I still lay awake at night from time to time thinking what a piece of I was/am. I was once paid to clean out a boat that police sold at auction. It was full of bilge water and shell casings, razor blades, a machete and trash. It felt so weird that the police just released it without pulling some of that stuff out of there. Another time, I was paid to sell 7,500 feet of used fire hose. That was an unbelievable mess. Who wants used fire hose? Crazy farmers from Idaho. They were brilliant, and they took it all away. Found a guy on Craigslist. He gave me $500 to his and give him a rim job. I needed money to fix my car, so you gotta do what you gotta do. My sister used to pay me 10 cents a minute to be her personal footrest as she watched TV. Some girl in my town is known for forking off her little brother, not for money but for cigarettes. I ate a mixing spoonful of bacon grease for $15 and a $5 coupon to Best Buy. Apparently my price is very low. I'm one of 7 children raised by a single mother. We were really broke. I mean eating mayonnaise sandwiches all day until hamburger helper was for dinner. My friend's mom had taken us to McDonald's after church on Wednesday. This was around Halloween and they were giving out trick-or-treat boxes for UNICEF. Basically you go door to door collecting donations for kids with polio and mail it in. Me and my little brothers went to every door in the neighborhood collecting money that we immediately spent on toothbrushes, toothpaste, and candy. The irony did go to waste on me at the time. Worked in a call center. Being continually shouted at all day kind of kills your soul. I had a friend at school who was infamous for being poor. People used to get him to do stupid stuff for money and he would go along with it. I doubt for the money. I think Emorizo just enjoyed the attention. Anyway, someone offers him $2 to eat a glue stick, one of the ones you wind up on the bottom which leverages a cylinder glue stick out the top. He obliges and takes a big mouthful of glue. The teacher notices the commotion and asks why the hell he ate it, to which he shrugs and replies with his mouth full of glue, "It's non-toxic." I laughed about that for a good while. Sucked 2 men off and did other stuff as well with them, much older men. I once deep-throated a banana on my Minecraft stream for PayPal donations, so I had money to buy a burrito and a monster that night to continue streaming. Went on one of those adult webcam sites and, well, got naked, did some other things. Easiest $200 I ever made. When I was a kid, I sold my neighbor one of Shaq's rap albums for $5. Edit so horribly ked up of me, I stole a man's wallet from his van. It had $100 in it, and a baby photo. Being the criminal mastermind I was, and too far away to return it, I decided to keep it, so I could post back all his cards etc. Yeah, I know. Anyway, went up the road and stole another bag from another car because apparently $100 wasn't enough for junkie me. Anyway, when I looked into the bag, realized it was a student's bag who was obviously from overseas and had his student ID, textbooks etc. in it. Realized this all worthless for me, but invaluable for him, so went back to return it. Was quickly confronted with a very rightly so angry bunch of African men, I think his family, who cornered me and called the cops. Still had the man's wallet on me, so got done for both, but at least everyone got their stuff back. Although my friend made off with the $100, still feel about that today 10 years later. Still can't believe I was that much of an hole. The worst part was the shame I felt. I had never stole more than some chocolate bars before that. Drugs man really can change a person. Happy ending, I'm clean and a mother now. Nobody would ever guess I was such an hole. Edit. New to posting, hope this all made sense. Appreciate any criticism. Edit. Thanks for all the replies and support. Really means a lot, you guys are awesome. Walked around a gay bar, I'm not gay, in my underwear promoting a drag show later that night. I'd let them buy me drinks and put money in my underwear as they cup/stroked my. I was 18. Went home with $1,500 after just 3 hours. I was so excited I didn't even care. Touch my all you want, fellas. Showed my 10-year-old non-boobers to a ginormous 14-year-old guy for all of the change he'd stolen from his mom. Not even a full dollar. Edit. In response, I'm a mature adult now. This happened when I was 10. He wanted to see more bits. I was satisfied with candy bar money and didn't show more. He knocked me down in school later because I didn't. I've no idea why he was even interested in an undeveloped female's bits. There, I think I answered it all. Oh, and I don't show my bits for money anymore. You guys are funny. Not me, but in 5th grade my brother took $20 to let a kid stab him in the hand with a fork. The kid's going places. Phone dom. Played video games while instructing him with specific ways to torture himself. $50 per hour. Probably made like $800 total. He loved it. I kinda loved it. I miss doing it, and apparently I'm very good at it. Not me, but very relevant. My first boss grew up in Cicero, super neighborhood. My boss was pretty crazy and got involved with some weird when he was younger. One day, he was apparently walking around, and man approached him and asked him if he would pee his pants for $500. Now, let's make something clear. When I say pee his pants, I mean this guy asked my boss to whip his out, put it in the zipper hole of this random dude's pants and just pee. Boss spent it all on crack the next day. We had metal picnic tables at school. They hadn't been cleaned for approximately 2 years. I poured water on it, so it brought up years worth of bird and dirt and people's food, and licked it for $15. Tasted like pineapples. Ate a cockroach for $20, which I spent on meat pies at school for me and my friends. Once I used what is essentially a small gas-powered helicopter blade to murder the millions of living things living around my grandparents' house. I had to clean the device afterwards, and it was covered in flesh and dripping fluids. I was paid afterwards, unsolicitedly. I spent my winnings on a bottle of memory erasure. I can still smell the acres of sinew and feel the rattle of the machine in my arms. I will never be the same. Aged 15, I was dead to down a whole bottle of cheap, French, white wine. For £30, $51. I did it. Then I undid it. Everywhere. They never thought to help me at all. My parents has to pick me up in this state. I don't associate myself with these people anymore. The worst part? I never got my £30. As a kid, I bought the last firework for a couple of bucks in my local shop, and immediately after, a younger kid came in hoping to get his own. He wanted it so badly, I sold it to him for $20. I left the store to grab a soda further down the street, came back and turned a corner to see the kid's mother yelling at him about getting ripped off. The kid was crying, and the mother was furious. My friend and I immediately turned around and booked it for a few blocks. Then, about half an hour later, we were walking around the neighborhood, and the mother drives up fast and stops short in front of us, rolls down the window, and, still furious, asks me if my name is so and so. Somehow she had found out. As it happened, there was one other kid in our grade with the same name, so I told her no, but that there was a so and so that lived across town. She actually thanked me, then sped off in the direction I pointed. Not me, but one of my friends. He was with some friends one night and they dared him to tase himself in the nuts for $12. Recorded it, and believe me when I say it looked like the most painful thing ever. Got drunk. Got paid about $100 to sit in a room with 4 people, drink a substantial amount of booze, watch a homemade tape about women abuse, and answer some questions. When I was a broke college girl, I took a summer class to graduate on time. My sorority sisters had all gone back home, which left me alone, bored and broke. I took to Craigslist, and for months spent my Sundays as a topless maid for a 40-something businesswoman. The money was great and her house was immaculate as is, so I was essentially eye candy, I always presumed. She doubled the rate one weekend, and expressed her desire to shackle my arms and legs together like a prisoner while I cleaned. I agreed, and spent the next 3 hours wondering if she'd let me go. At a high school football game freshman year, pulled some of the feathers out of my coat and snorted them in my nose. Just for laughs. Fast forward 3 years. I cough really hard, and a phlegm-covered feather shoots out of my mouth. Back in school, I let a gay guy give me a full body massage for $100. His ruse was that he was studying to be a massage therapist and his school allotted him money to pay for people to practice on. I didn't care as it was win-win for me. I was vacationing in Cairns. A dude bet me $200 to lick this fat pimply girl's back. She was wearing a tank top. I did. My tongue was coated in human oil. I wasn't happy. But the dude that bet me the money threw up in the bar just watching me do it. It was grade 8. The day was scorching, and I was too thirsty to pass up any offer for a drink. During lunch, my friends decided to be a bunch of, and waved $2 in front of me, which, in my mind, was money for a milk to go. Milk was not a good option for the heat, but it was something, and our fountains had water that tasted like total warm crap. Anyways, I tried snagging the $2 because they offered and were now playing a game of douches with me, but no dice. My one friend who was holding up the $2 took it back and raised an eyebrow. "I'll give you these $2 if you grab that girl's boobs." I looked back and realized that it was one of my good friends. I didn't want to, but I did want to at the same time. I didn't because I knew it to be disrespectful, but I did because I was a horny grade 8 kid who knew that she had the second best set of tits for a 13-year-old in the grade. They were bigger than some of the teachers. I'm being serious. Even now at the time of graduation, they're king massive. At first I declined several times, but I knew I wanted the milk, baydumtis, so I went, and I did it in the most subliminal way I knew. I went behind my friend and hugged her, and at the same time I placed both hands on both tits. To my total surprise, she sunk into the hug and put one of her hands on mine, and we just conversed from there. Needless to say, I got my $2, but I was nervous as